Hey everybody, Craig here, CLP Bushcraft. So I'm here in my den and I want to make this video for y'all. This video is something that I've seen several times now on YouTube. I like watching a lot of YouTube. And I've seen this now on different channels, one being one of my buddy's channel, Taylor Martin with Best Damn EDC. He did a video like this a couple of years ago, I think it was. But it is the knives you will never sell, get rid of, trade, whatever. It's the knives that staying with you. So I got to thinking about that, being a knife lover as I am. I've got several knives in my collection. And I was like, let me think about it. Some knives come right at the top of my head. It's like, I knew I'd never get rid of that knife, But other was, I was like, you know what? I'm fixing to go through my entire knife collection. And I'm going to pull the knives that I would never get rid of under any circumstances. I mean, I guess if I completely went bankrupt and I had to have cash to live for me and my family, that's one thing. But just to like, hey, I'm going to trade this knife off or sell this knife to be able to get something else. These knives wouldn't even be in the running for that. These are the ones that are going to be with me forever that I'd never want to get rid of. And not all of them are my favorite knives. But each knife has a value of sentimental value to it. And that's what most all of them, some of them are granted my favorites, but most all of them have a sentimental value, and just holding that knife or seeing that knife or using that knife brings back that memory, that sentimental memory that is a joy in your life at some point. So that is why most all these knives I would never get rid of, is just for the fact of the sentimental value that is there with these knives. So I'm going to go through, I've got folders and I got fixed blades. And what I'm going to do is reposition the camera up and go through each one. I'll probably start with the folders first, and then we'll go into fixed blades. And it might be a little long because I got thinking about it. Okay, I'll do the 5 knives I never get rid of. Well, there's more than that. Well, the 10 knives that I never get rid of. Well, there's more than that. So I wanted to go through my entire collection and show you the knives I would never get rid of. And this is just a drop in the bucket of what knives that I have. But these are the ones that are going to be with me forever, that I'm going to keep. So what I'm going to do is reposition the camera, set it up where you're seeing the knife up close and not me. And I'll go over the knife, like what the knife is, or what kind of knife it is, and why the sentimental value is there for that knife for me. Why I wouldn't get rid of that knife. I'm not going to go over steel types and all that kind of specs on that. I'm not going to do all that. I'm just going to go over the knife, what it is, and why I won't get rid of it. And I'll kind of go through them kind of quick because there's several of them. All right, stick with me and let me readjust the camera, and we'll start showing you the knives. See you in a minute. Okay, so we're going to start off with folders. And this is one of my oldest knives to me, and it's an old Wagner Swiss Army knife that I got when I was young. I don't remember how old I was, maybe 10, 11, I don't know for sure, couldn't even remember. But this is one of the first knives that I had. I remember getting this knife at Kmart in Athens, and they had several different ones. And I really like this one, and I've used this thing a lot when I was a kid. I'm surprised I still got the old toothpick and tweezers in it still, but they're still there. But yeah, one of the oldest knives that I have, and there's so many fond memories of this knife when I was a kid, watching MacGyver growing up as a kid in the 80s, and yeah, you could do anything with a Swiss Army knife. Next one is going to be, this knife was my dad's, and I'm pretty sure it's a Kershaw. I cannot remember. It's so patinaed, it's hard to even just see the maker on it. But look how much he has sharpened this thing down. Like, it's crazy. But my dad toted this knife for a long time. He worked at GE for a while, and I remember telling me stories about using this knife to cut down boxes and stuff, and everybody used to call him the man with the big knife. But yeah, this is my dad's, and just basically a treasure to me that I would never get rid of. This was my papaw's. This is an old timer that he carried. I always remember this knife being in his pocket, and yeah, it's got a lot of use to it. Patinaed. He was a man that he just liked, smaller knives and stuff, never carried any big knives. I just always remember this knife that he carried. But yeah, it's another one. It's my papaw's and never get rid of. This knife was given to me by my brother and sister-in-law. It's a Moremaker, and what's cool about this one is, let's see, is this the blade that's got the date on it? It's the last blade. Yeah. So it's got, well, the light, here we can't see it, but it's got 1996. They were branded when they were made, and this one was made in 1996, and it was the year I graduated, and that was a graduation present that was given to me by my brother and my sister-in-law. And I'd never get rid of this one. Another one that brings back a lot of memories is my Emerson, Benchmade Emerson. And this thing, this CQC7, I carried it a lot. I carried it when I first got into law enforcement. This is the knife that I toted. I wound up getting this knife back around in 95. Somewhere along in there, probably. I can't really remember for sure, but I've toted this knife a lot. I just took really good care of it. And like I say, this was the knife that I carried when I started in law enforcement. And yeah, I would never get rid of this one. Another one that I carried a lot in my law enforcement career is my Spyderco Police G10. And this was just, I carried this knife a lot. And it's just a really good, large fixed blade, or folded knife, a very large folded knife. And it's really thin and easy to carry. I gotta change the clip on it to a titanium clip. I broke the Spyderco clip. Another real recent knife to me is this Knaps carry commission. And this one, I traded my good buddy Jonathan, the Bearded Burton, at Blade Show this year. And so this is kind of one of them deals. It's like I traded him an Applegate folder that I had, and for this one I really liked it. I didn't have a Knaps, and I like the carry commission one. It's limited, and I can always remember back having this knife, me and him and Kaysen at the hotel right before Blade started, or the day before Blade Show started, and we're going through all of our knives, looking at them and making trades and stuff, and Kaysen's buying a fire steel from him, and I've seen this knife, and I'm like, man, I really like it, so I'm like, hey, I'll trade you this. So it's just a great memory of us three, the very first Blade Show Kaysen got to go to, and just a really great memory with this knife of doing trades there at the hotel. And this is my absolute favorite folder that I own. And it is my Chris Reeves Emerson. And this knife I bought from my buddy Taylor Martin with Best Damn EDC. I was wanting an Emerson, and me and him and Jonathan was talking, texting, and Taylor told Jonathan, he's like, hey, I might be able to help Craig out. I've got this green one now, and I would might let this one go. So me and Taylor got the texting back and forth, and come up with a deal on it, and he made me a really, really good deal. And what's cool about it is it belonged to him, It's been in a lot of videos of his. He's carried it a lot. And this thing is just a tank of a knife. I mean, I love it. I changed the lanyard on it. He had a leather lanyard. And then I got this clip. It's one of their new molded clips, this titanium. And I wound up getting that at Blade Show. But, yeah, this is hands down my favorite folder that I own right now is this Chris Reeves Umnumzon. All right, so that brings us to fixed blades. Well, I'm more of a fixed blade guy. I guess I've got more fixed blades than I do folders. So first out of the bat, everybody's going to know this knife was going to be here, and this is my LT Wright knives, Bearded Mouse Genesis. And this knife, it's got sentimental value to me about it. You know, it was a collaboration between my good friend Jonathan and Larry Roberts. There's a small amount of these knives out there. This is my absolute favorite bushcraft knife to use. If I'm going to go out and only had one fixed blade, this is going to be the fixed blade. Like, as far as the folders go, the Umnumzon is going to be it. And the fixed blades, this one's going to be it. It's my absolute favorite. Next up is another LT. And this is my Big Larry. And what is really special about this knife is this knife was gifted to me by LT and Mikey at Campfire Co-op, the very first Campfire Co-op that I was at. Me and Jonathan went to it, and Larry Roberts was there, and we was to, you know, go to the table, and we could pick up, you know, any of the knives that LT had, go out, play with them in the woods, use them, get content on the knives. And I picked up the Big Larry and got out and used it a lot. And I was like, man, I really want this knife. I really liked it. And I told Mikey, I'm like, hey, I really want to get this knife. And he's like, we're not selling no knives. We can't sell you the knife. You know, this is, we was using them. Of course, it was, you know, brand new when I got it. And he's like, look, all you need to do is get LT and Larry to sign the box, and it's yours. And so it's gifted to me. So this knife has a lot of sentimental value for as, you know, remembering that first Campfire Co-op and being my first knife gifted to me by LT Wright. And yeah, just really like it, and I never get rid of this knife. Another LT is my Keystamp pronghorn, and there's a lot of people out there that would love to have this knife, and but this knife's never going anywhere. This knife was, I purchased this at my very first Blade Show Atlanta. It was me and JB flew up there. Very first time getting to work the booth with them. It was just it was an amazing time. And I wanted a Keystamp. This is my first Keystamp. I seen this pronghorn. I'm like, this is the one I want. I gotta have. And it is my top 3 favorite knives that I own. I love this pronghorn, and it's staying with me from now on. So another LT knife, which this is made by LT Wright Knives for Jack Wolf Knives, and this is the Vampire Hunter. And this knife debuted at Blade Show, Texas, and they only had a small run of them. There's 15 of these made with the red carbon fiber scales. I love that red carbon fiber scale, and I love the design, the shape of it. This knife actually goes with me everywhere. It stays in my EDC backpack. And one of my absolute favorites that I will never get rid of. And I wound up having a knives, or a Taylor by Cortez sheath made for it to match it, where it came with a brown one. And I wound up going with black and red stitching to match the knife. This one is my Woods Monkey Kerf Carver. And this knife has seen so much use since I had it. This knife was gifted to me by Brian from Woods Monkey. It was made in-house at LT Wright Knives. And, oh, you said the Woods Monkey. Yeah, it's still got a little bit of the emblem on it. I've carved so much stuff with this. It's my favorite knife to carve with. And like I say, it was gifted to me at the second Campfire Co-op. I wound up sending it in with them, had a Kydex sheath made for it a couple years later. But yeah, this knife has seen so much use, and my absolute favorite knife to carve with, and I've carved so much stuff with it, never getting rid of this one. Another smaller knife is I'm trying to think of the brand of it. Oh my gosh, I completely drew a blank, y'all. I know y'all are answering comments. This knife was gifted to me. There's our group that we have, and we call ourselves the Creek Hole Crew. And Neil, our buddy Neil, wind up reaching out and getting these knives made for us as a Christmas present. And we all hung out and camped out together, and he gifted us all these knives. They're all the same. Got the red and blue with blue liners, black pins, and just a wonderful, wonderful gift that Neil gave to us. And awesome little knife. But it's so cool that only just a small amount of us that's in the Creek Hole Crew has this knife. And a Kydex sheath. This knife was owned by Joe Robinette. There's a lot here on this knife. This is a Deering. It's the Deering EDC. I can't remember exactly what. It's something EDC. Bushcraft EDC, something along them lines. But anyway, this knife was owned by Joe Robinette. And he's used it in his videos. And what he did is he donated it to an auction that Foxlight Gear was hosting. Their son passed away, and they were doing an auction to raise money for the organization. And I wound up winning that auction. Got several items donated by Joe Robinette, but this knife was one of them. And I've used it quite a bit. I've carried it quite a bit. I've got it basically put up now. But yeah, this knife, I won this knife right before my daddy passed away too. I remember being at the hospital and having this knife and telling Daddy about the knife. He wasn't coherent, but I remember, having this knife with me there too. So yeah, this knife's not going anywhere. There's a lot attached to this knife. Yeah, Deering. This one is my first fixed blade that was given to me by my daddy. I say my first fixed blade. I had one of the Taiwan hollow handled knives too, and I did a lot with it. But as far as the first real fixed blade knife, this was given to me by my dad, and I'm never getting rid of this. The sheath, I can't remember what happened to the sheath, but this is an old Schrade sheath that I wound up putting it in. But yeah, this is old Buck, and it's not going anywhere. It's a Buck 105, I believe it is. Yeah, Buck 105. But yeah, and this is, I actually got a scar still on my finger from this knife. One of the first bad cuts that I wound up having. But yeah, not going nowhere in my Buck 105. Another LT is this one, and this is the Classmade knife. The one that you can take the knife making class at LT Wright Knives. And this is the one that I made. Me and Jonathan went up there a couple years ago, and you get to pick out, what scales you want, the colors, the liners. You do the grinding, you do everything, the heat treat, all the stuff on it. You wind up doing it, with the help of the crew at LT Wright Knives, of course. But this knife is just an heirloom quality knife. I've used it quite a bit, actually, and I actually sent it back in and had them, because the CLP Bushcraft actually worn off on it, and I had it sent back in and had it redone, and I basically just put it up now. It's kind of an heirloom knife, but it really feels amazing in hand and is razor sharp. But it was so cool making this knife, and yeah, this is one that's never leaving. This one is one that I wanted so bad when I was a kid. The Buckmaster. And I wanted it so bad, and of course back then, mom and dad wasn't fixing to buy this for me. But as I got older, I'm like, I want to get one of these. And this thing on the secondary market is crazy on prices. But anyway, wound up getting it. It was practically brand new still when I got it. It had, been used a little bit, but not much. And I've used it some, but basically it's just the fact of holding this knife and remembering childhood memories. Rambo was like the coolest thing ever back then to me. And this was like, Rambo knife that you could buy, and from Buck. And this thing is just a beast of a knife. But yeah, this knife, it's not going anywhere. I wanted this thing for a long time when I was a kid, and I finally got one, and yep, it's not going anywhere. It's staying in the collection. Last two knives are from Adventure Sworn. This was my first real custom knife, custom bushcraft knife, and when I started getting into bushcrafting, and it's an Adventure Sworn Mountaineer. This thing has been a lot of places with me, and I've carried it for a long time, done a lot with it. It's went back to the shop for spot treatment, but I wound up picking out the scales. I got walnut with the ivory liners, and I don't use it near as much now. I prefer my LT Wright Genesis. I like the Kephart style versus more of the this style. I'm throwing a blank, y'all. But woodlore, this is more of a woodlore style. But it's extremely comfortable, extremely sharp. I really like it. And actually this knife was bought by my mom. My mom bought it for me, and this is never going anywhere. Like I say, it's my first custom bushcraft knife. I had this knife and used it at my first bushcraft outing where I met Jonathan and the other guys from the Creco crew, Will and Neil and Logan. And yeah, this knife's not going anywhere. Really, really like this knife. And the last up on the fixed blades is another Adventure Sworn. And this is the Scout model from Adventure Sworn. So if I can get it without all that reflection on it. So this knife is designed by Joe Robinette. And this was kind of like his one knife tool type deal. Adventure Sworn wound up making it. They did a custom order where you could customize it. I did the same as my Mountaineer because I wanted them to match with walnut and ivory liners. And it's got the Scout logo on it, Joe's logo. And this thing is just a beast of a knife. CPM 3V steel. It's got a convex grind on it. It feels really good in hand. And it's one of them that I haven't really used a lot. I basically just wanted to put it up for the collection. And I don't know that Adventure Sworn's even going to make this model anymore. So this is kind of a real rarity that's out there. It took a while to get it. They wound up going through some complications and stuff with the knife when they was making it. I don't know that with the knife, but the company wound up having to move locations and stuff, so it took a little bit longer to get it than what they anticipated. But yeah, it's an amazing knife, really big knife, and yeah, another one that I don't want to get rid of. So that's it. That's my knives that are staying with me forever, never getting rid of. I think there was like 20 of them, maybe 21, something like that, maybe 19. I can't remember. I didn't really count them. But that's the ones that staying with me, and that's say 20 knives out of a collection of probably at least over 200 knives. Yeah, that's the ones that are the most special to me, sentimental wise and favorite wise at the same time. This knife, Field and Steel. I could not think of the name of that whenever I was filming it. Field and Steel. That's who makes this knife. They make really great knives. And razor sharp. I guess I'm getting old. So, but if you have some knives out there, it's like your favorite knife that you know you would never get rid of, as far as the sentimental value of it, or just your favorite, comment down below. Let us know what some of your knives are. We'd love to hear. So if you like what you see here, guys, hit that that like button. It really means a lot to us. Really helps the channel out. And if you like watching us here on the LT Wright Knives channel, hit that subscribe button. We try to post as many videos as we can, us ambassadors with LT and Wright Knives. We love getting out in the woods, or sometimes just here in the house, and showing you our collections, showing you stuff. You never know. I might be here one day, and next video might be out bushcrafting. So hit that bell notification. It'll let you know when we post a video here on the LT Wright Knives channel. All right, guys. Until the next one, we'll see you then. Y'all take care.